Hello, Ellen. I just wanted to post this video to say hi to everybody and pray that everyone is doing well. We are certainly praying for our church family, and so far everybody seems to be doing well, and we're so thankful for that. We're looking forward to getting back into our services again and seeing everybody. We really miss being with you, and I just wanted to take a moment here, not very long, and just talk to you about some things that have kind of been on my mind recently. Israel was in a difficult circumstance spiritually in the book of Isaiah, and the prophet is speaking to them in Isaiah chapter 61, and they're going to be going into captivity shortly. And so Isaiah is speaking to them and talking to them about not the captivity so much, but he's talking to them about the future. He's talking to them about beyond the captivity. And he says in Isaiah chapter 61 and verse number 3, "To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified." You know, ultimately in everything that God allows, everything that God does, he seeks his glory in it. And what we're going through right now as a nation, really as a world, and certainly as a church and families, is a difficult situation. And after a couple of weeks now, it's gotten a little bit frustrating. The uniqueness has kind of faded away. But I want to just remind us that the Lord has a purpose in this, and not only for the world or for our nation, and even for our church, but for our individual lives. And what he wants is that we respond to this in a way that is going to glorify him. I don't know what opportunities are going to be afforded to us as a result of this. I don't know what doors are going to open to us as a result of this, but I do know that we ought to be looking for those things, and that we ought to be conducting ourselves in a way that brings glory and honor to him. I have a program on my computer that every morning I get up, there's a new picture. And it just occurred to me the other day, there are always scenic pictures from all around the world. Sometimes they're in China, sometimes they're from the Netherlands, sometimes maybe from Spain, some in America, but they're just absolutely gorgeous. And it occurred to me the other day how many of these things that we look at as such beautiful things, like the Grand Canyon and the Great Lakes and those kinds of things, Christian scientists and geologists believe that these are remnants of the flood, that this is something that happened as a result of the flood of Noah thousands of years ago. I believe that's probably true, and there may be many other things like that are a result of that. But, you know, it occurred to me that in a devastating event like that, we go to these places now, and we admire them and the beauty of them and just the magnificence of these various things are a time for us to look with wonder at what God has done. And that was his judgment. And if we can admire the remnants and the beauty of the judgments of God, we can look forward to the fact that something wondrous is going to come out of all of this. And I hope we're not despairing. I hope we're not depressed because of all of this, because God is in control of it all. And one day, maybe next year, maybe 10 years from now, we're going to be able to look back and say, I see the hand of God in that, in my life or in the life of my church. And that's what Isaiah is reminding these people of. He's telling them, you're going to go into Babylon, into captivity. But out of this, there's going to be beauty for ashes. There's going to be joy for mourning. There's going to be a garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. All of these things that you're going through now are going to ultimately turn to the glory and honor and to the praise of the Lord. And he says that ultimately the goal is that you might be called trees of righteousness, and you would be called the planting of the Lord. And then the last thing that he says in verse number 3 of Isaiah 61 is that he might be glorified. That's the purpose, isn't it, in our lives, in this situation, in every situation that we face in our life. Isaiah chapter 24 and verse number 1, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Psalm chapter 19 verses 1 through 4, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor tongue where their voice is not heard. It goes out throughout the world. And we need to, as difficult as it is right now to be cooped up in our homes or to be laid off from our job, we need to remember that the God we serve, the God we love, is working something in our lives and in our church that he could not do otherwise. And so I just pray that we will continue to pray for one another, that we will continue to pray for our church, that its needs will be met, that we will do everything that we can in this technological age to minister to those around us, and that we would look forward and pray for the day when we'll be able to meet back again as a congregation of believers in Christ. Until that day, and I hope it's soon, until that day, let's be faithful, and let's remember that our God controls it all. He is the master of everything, and he is the master of this moment. And let's rejoice that God is doing what he needs to do at this time. Let's pray. Father, thank you for this time with our people. I just pray that you would bless us and help us to be faithful to you during this time. Help us to understand that you're in control of all of this, not our government, not ourselves, but you are in control of all of this. Use it in our lives to make us strong and standing trees in a spiritual sense. Help us to become a holy people that you can use in magnificent ways, and ultimately that you will be glorified in it all. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you real soon. I wanted to remind you too that this Sunday, as everybody knows, is Easter Sunday. But I would like to encourage you to watch our video. I'll be preaching on Galatians chapter 2 and verse number 20, probably not a normal text for Easter Sunday, but I think it is very much tied to Easter and very applicable to our lives, to the living of the Christian life. And so that's what I'll be preaching on this Sunday. Also, we'd like to encourage you to invite people to join us. That was one of the things we were trying to do during the first months of this year, was to invite at least 10 families, and we would like you to do that. We would like you to invite people to join in to watch us. We're going to have a little video at the beginning of our service for the young people to explain to the kids, to explain Easter and what Easter is all about and what it is we are celebrating. And then I'm going to talk to you from Galatians 2:20 about living the Christian life and what is the essence of the Christian life, and what does the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ have to do with me today, and how does that help me live out the Christian life day by day. So I hope you'll plan to be here. This Sunday starts at 10:15. Facebook.com/UnityChampaign is where we'll be on Facebook, and we'll send you a link to our YouTube channel this Sunday morning. We'll see you then.